Everyone's got that friend. The one who started keto for the 5th time this year. The meal prep containers are collecting dust. The food scale got donated. Again. And here's the wild part. This isn't dumb people making dumb mistakes. We're talking about engineers, doctors, athletes who train 5 days a week. Smart, disciplined people who solve hard problems for a living. So why does this keep happening? Studies show that by 1 year, roughly 80% of people who start a diet have abandoned it. 80%. And the 6-week mark is where most people quit, not because they lack willpower, but because the diet doesn't fit their life. We've been asking the wrong question. We keep asking, what's the best diet? Maybe the right question is, what's the diet I can actually live with? Because the most optimized meal plan on earth is worthless if you quit it in week 3. Let's get one thing straight. Calories in versus calories out is not a theory. It's physics. A pound of body fat is roughly 3,500 calories. Eat 500 fewer per day, lose about a pound a week. This is thermodynamics. It's not up for debate. A 2019 study found that while 97% of people know calories matter, only 21% can accurately estimate how many they're eating. We have a 40% error rate in our own food logging. The equation works. The execution is where it falls apart. Here's the punchline. Every diet works. Keto, paleo, Mediterranean, intermittent fasting, vegan, carnivore. A 2019 systematic review in JAMA looked at 48 randomized controlled trials. The difference in weight loss between the best and worst diet at 12 months? Less than 5 pounds. A landmark New England Journal of Medicine study followed 322 people on 4 different diets for 18 months. Every diet created the same 750-calorie deficit. The result? People who adhered best lost the most weight, regardless of which diet they were on. The diet wasn't the variable. Compliance was. Here's something most people miss. Digestion begins before food hits your stomach. Sight, smell, even thinking about food triggers cephalic phase digestion. Your mouth starts secreting enzymes. Your stomach prepares acid. This is why eating distracted, over a screen, in a rush, actually impairs digestion. You're skipping phase 1. Once food hits your stomach, hydrochloric acid and pepsin go to work breaking it down. This takes 2 to 5 hours depending on what you ate. Fat slows gastric emptying significantly. That's why a greasy meal keeps you full, but also why it sits like a brick. Protein and carbs move through faster. This matters for meal timing around training. Your gut houses roughly 100 trillion bacteria, your microbiome. They weigh about 2 to 5 pounds. These microbes digest fiber, produce vitamins like K2 and B12, regulate immune function, and even influence hunger hormones. A 2021 review in Nature found that gut microbiome composition correlates strongly with metabolic health and body composition. Fiber, both soluble and insoluble, is where most people fail. Soluble fiber dissolves in water, forms a gel, slows digestion, feeds good bacteria. Insoluble fiber adds bulk, keeps things moving. Target, 25 to 35 grams daily. Most people get 15. This is an easy win. Here's the problem with obsessive calorie counting. 500 calories of soda affects your body differently than 500 calories of chicken and broccoli. Sugar spikes insulin. Processed foods are designed to be overeaten, hyperpalatable, low satiety. Your body's hormonal response to whole foods versus processed foods is radically different, even at identical calorie levels. A 1995 study from Sydney University tested 38 common foods for satiety. Boiled potatoes ranked highest. Eggs, oatmeal, fish, and beef scored high. White bread and croissant, dead last. If you're constantly hungry, check your food choices, not just your portions. Volume and protein combined with low energy density is the cheat code. Your body needs vitamins and minerals to metabolize the macros you're tracking. Zinc for testosterone. Magnesium for sleep and recovery. B vitamins for energy pathways. Iron for oxygen transport. Eat 1,500 calories of processed food, and you'll hit your protein target, but likely be deficient in half your macros. Deficiencies tank performance, recovery, and hormones. Let's do some math. Your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, is your maintenance calories. First, estimate your basal metabolic rate. Rough formula. Body weight in pounds times 10 to 12, depending on activity level. Sedentary, 10. Moderate activity, 11. Very active, 12. That's your baseline. Then factor in your activity. Sedentary job plus light exercise. Multiply BMR by 1.2 to 1.35. Moderate training 3 to 4 times a week, 1.35 to 1.5. Heavy training 5 to 6 days plus physical job, 1.5 to 1.7. An example, 180-pound guy, moderate activity, does 180 times 11 times 1.4, roughly 2,770 calories maintenance. Now here's the actionable part. 3 scenarios: fat loss, maintenance, muscle gain. Fat loss. Eat 250 to 500 calories below TDEE. That's a half to 1 pound per week. Sustainable. Maintenance. Eat at TDEE. Your weight stays the same, but you're fueling training. Muscle gain. Eat 200 to 300 calories above TDEE with adequate protein. Don't guess. Track for 2 weeks. If you're not moving toward your goal, adjust by 100 to 150 calories. 1 week isn't enough. Water weight, sodium, digestion all fluctuate. Look at the trend over 14 days, then adjust. This is how you stop spinning your wheels. If you're going to optimize one thing, make it protein. 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's the target. Non-negotiable for anyone training seriously. This range maximizes muscle protein synthesis and preserves lean mass during a caloric deficit. Thermic effect. Your body burns approximately 25 to 30% of protein calories just digesting it. Eat 100 calories of chicken, you keep about 72. A 2003 study found high-protein diets increased 24-hour energy expenditure by about 150 calories. That's a free workout without moving. Satiety. Protein triggers peptide YY and GLP-1, hormones that signal fullness. A 2005 study found that people who ate a high-protein breakfast consumed 200 fewer calories at lunch. Without trying. Without counting. This is the closest thing to a cheat code that exists in nutrition. Here's the part nobody talks about. When you create a caloric deficit, your body fights back. Hard. Ghrelin, your hunger hormone, goes up when you eat less, and it stays elevated. A 2011 study found that 12 months after losing weight, ghrelin was still elevated. Your brain is biologically screaming at you to eat more. Leptin, your satiety hormone, drops. The bigger the deficit, the harder it crashes. Cortisol rises. Your stress hormone goes up during caloric restriction. It promotes fat storage, breaks down muscle, and makes you irritable and anxious. So when you feel hungry all the time, when you're snapping at people, when you can't stop thinking about food, that's not weakness. That's your endocrine system executing a survival program that evolved over millions of years. Sleep deprivation raises ghrelin by 15% and drops leptin by 15%. So poor sleep actively works against your diet. For hard training athletes, your increased hunger after a brutal session is appropriate. Your body is asking for fuel. Most people eat the same amount every day, no matter what they're doing. Rest day, heavy squat day, active recovery run. Same calories. This makes no sense. Energy expenditure on heavy training days can be 300 to 500 calories higher than rest days. The fix: periodize your eating the way you periodize your training. Heavy training weeks, maintenance, or a slight surplus. Hard sessions specifically, eat to fuel them. Deload weeks, a slight deficit. This creates metabolic flexibility. Let's bust some myths. Carbs make you fat. No, excess calories make you fat. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred fuel for high-intensity activity. They're not the enemy. The enemy is processed carbs, low fiber, high sugar, low satiety. Sweet potato versus Snickers. Different universe. Myth number 2. Fat loss is linear. It's not. You'll have weeks where the scale doesn't move even though you're doing everything right. Water retention from glycogen replenishment, sodium, stress, sleep, all cause fluctuations. Trust the trend over weeks, not the scale over days. Myth 3. Breakfast is the most important meal. It's not. There's no metabolic advantage to eating in the morning versus the evening. What matters is total daily intake. Some people train better fasted. Some perform better after a meal. Figure out what works for your schedule and training, not what a cereal ad told you. Myth 4. You need to eat 6 small meals to stoke metabolism. Total myth. Meal frequency has minimal impact on thermogenesis. What matters is total protein intake and total calories. If eating 3 meals works for you, do that. If you prefer 2, that's fine. For athletes specifically, there's another layer. The diet has to fit the sport. Keto and BJJ is a nightmare. BJJ is glycolytic. Your body runs on glucose for explosive, repeated efforts. Trying to do it in ketosis is like driving a racing car on the wrong fuel. Think of your body as an engine. You're not driving at a constant speed. Sometimes you're flooring it. Sometimes you're coasting. Would you put the same amount of gas in regardless of how hard you're driving? That's exactly what linear eating does. So here's the actual question. What can you eat every single day without feeling like you're on a diet? Not for a month, for the rest of your life. A 2022 review found the strongest predictor of 2-year weight loss success wasn't diet type. It wasn't macro ratio. It was consistent adherence. One more thing on food quality. Ultra-processed foods are engineered to override satiety signals. They trigger dopamine reward pathways similar to addictive substances. A 2019 NIH study found people ate 500 more calories per day on an ultra-processed diet versus whole food diet, even when matched for presented calories and macronutrients. The food itself hijacks your hunger regulation. Practical compliance means, can you prep this meal when you're exhausted? Can you eat this at a restaurant with friends? Can you travel with this? If your diet fails the hungover Saturday test, the travel test, the busy week test, it will fail. Designed for reality, not for a controlled environment you don't live in. Stop chasing perfect. Stop starting over every Monday. Stop following what worked for someone else whose sport, schedule, and biology are nothing like yours. Find what fuels your training, keeps your weight where you want it, and doesn't make you miserable. Maintain it at 80% over years, not 100% for 3 weeks. That's the nutrition truth nobody wants to hear, but it's the one that actually works.